not, I think we gotta give Hyundai some credit where credit is due.
Oh, absolutely.
My name's Gabby.
I'm Charlotte.
And right behind us is the 2025 Hyundai Sonata
N-Line.
Now the N-Line is what makes this vehicle truly, truly special because let's face it, here in Canada, lots of manufacturers have a midsize sedan. And actually, you know what? Maybe not lots.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Kia just got rid of theirs a few years ago, and more often, we're losing our sedans in our vehicle lineups. One thing I will say we've especially lost is sporty versions of it. Honda only has hybrids and a regular gas engine for their Accord. When we look at Toyota, we got rid of the TRD Camry. Now again, we've got hybrids. So if you are someone who is looking for a performance-oriented sedan that still live with the bull, this is the car for you, and we're explaining why. Charlotte, what are we doing in today's video?
In today's video, we are going to be giving you guys a full and complete walkthrough of what you can be expecting for the exterior styling, the powertrain, the tech, the safety, the interior comfort features. Basically, if there's something that you want to know about this vehicle, we're going to be talking about it today. And the best part is this is done completely live, as you can probably tell.
Yep.
Meaning there's no script. It's us, it's the car, and it's you guys. So if you have questions, leave them in the live chat. We do these every single weekday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you still have questions when it's all done, leave it as a comment down below and we will answer it for you.
Ryan just said in the chat, is that a real word, livewithable? And today it is.
I think so. It's in the Gabby dictionary.
Let's get into it. So typically on a vehicle like this, anytime we have something a little bit more performance oriented, I do like to talk about the competitors. Because if you are a car nut and you are looking for something fun, sporty, and of course, best bang for your buck, you're probably going to compare it to other vehicles. Now, I'm going to start right off the bat by saying there is not a lot in the sporty segment when it comes to a midsize sedan. So I already mentioned that earlier that Honda has axed theirs, and same thing with the Camry on Toyota side of things. They no longer really have a sporty version of their midsize sedan. Hyundai is truly the last car manufacturer that has it, and it's a really good one. We'll first start off with the front end, and what makes the N-Line truly special doesn't just come to the powertrain that powers it, but also the styling elements. So our front end has a nice, clean, sleek black finish. And of course, today's paint color is Abyss Black, so there's going to be a lot of darkness on this particular car. But regardless of the exterior color you opt for, you will get a beautiful mesh black grille with this gloss black panel along your front bumper. You also get some advanced tech and safety when you do opt for the N-Line trim level, one of which will be the inclusion of highway drive assist. So that is one of the many functions on this car that make it very daily driver friendly. Highway Drive Assist is essentially a smarter version of Smart Cruise Control. It's going to know the navigation data of the highway that you're on, meaning any bends in the road, the speed limits, that sort of thing, and make sure your vehicle is always at a safe distance from the vehicle ahead of you, as well as centered in its lane at all times. Truly a great driver assistance that you can turn on or off with the touch of a button. For your headlamps, you also get a premium projector style LED for your main headlamp bulb. So nice bright white lights, and my favorite lighting cue on the Sonata is the daytime running lamp that expands all the way across the front end of the vehicle. It's almost the RoboCop-esque look, and I think it really widens the hood, giving this car a lot of road presence. It seriously looks fantastic. That is truly my favorite part of the Sonata, other than the powertrain. I'm going to quickly turn that light off and pop the hood just so you can see how that light bar disappears and turns into a nice chrome finish when the car is off. So check that out. It almost doesn't look like a light at all. And then the car wakes up and it adds a lot of character. Get the lighting sequence back on, and I'll also trigger the hazard lights so you can see what your turn signal indicators look like. So there you are. We got our indicators on. Another nice small touch that Hyundai has incorporated to the Sonata, and it's actually the only vehicle in Hyundai's current lineup with this, is the fender-mounted turn signal indicators. So a lot of cars will opt to have it on the mirror instead of the fender, but I think this is a nice touch, and it's still something that you can see whether you're driving in front of the Sonata or someone from behind or from the side. It's viewable from all angles.
Can I say something about that real quick?
Yes.
One of the things that I really like from a design perspective on this is if you are following this line and tracing it up towards the fender, it's all consistent, which I think is just a great attention to detail.
All right, powertrain's next. Now this is what you're really getting the N-Line for. So it'll take the typical 2.5 liter naturally aspirated from the regular preferred or preferred with trend and transform it to a 2.5 liter turbocharged powertrain. This powertrain will give you 290 horsepower with 311 pound-feet of torque. Very, very healthy numbers. And let me tell you, I've driven this car multiple times. Every single time, I've left with a smile on my face. It's a responsive powertrain, and it's tied to a dual clutch transmission with 8 speeds. This dual clutch is also a wet style dual clutch. So performance-wise, I mean, lightning quick shifts, smooth ride, and sporty acceleration, but it's also a little bit more livable and, what's the word I'm looking for, Charlotte? Reliable than a dry type dual clutch. So if you are someone who is going to do a lot of stop and go traffic conditions, you're probably better off with a wet type dual clutch transmission than the dry type, which can be prone to overheating, especially if you do not know what makes a dual clutch different than a regular automatic. All right, so those are huge upgrades for the N-Line. One thing I will say is if you were opting or wanting to get all-wheel drive, you cannot do so with the N-Line. That is exclusive to the preferred with Trend and preferred models. Sorry about that.
It is what it is.
That is the downfall of this vehicle. Now, I will say, all-wheel drive is fantastic, but is it a must-have? I don't think so. I've never had all-wheel drive up until 4x4 in my pickup truck recently, and I've gotten along just fine driving front-wheel drive sedans. If you are driving this car in the winter, winter tires are an absolute must-have if you do live somewhere with cold winters, simply because they will give you the traction that you need, something that all-wheel drive will not really help with. So let's take a look at the wheels now. I feel like it's only fitting. So on the N-Line, you get these exclusive 19-inch, not full gloss black, but almost more of a gunmetal style accent with machine finish accents as well. Sorry, I said accents way too many times. I tried to stop, but it just came out anyway. Can't help it.
Runaway train.
For your tires, you get a Pirelli, which is a bit more of a performance-oriented tire. It's not a full summer, it's still an all-season. But again, you're getting a better tire brand on this particular model. Your brakes in the front are also going to be much larger than the typical 2.5-liter naturally aspirated Hyundai Sonata. So they're 345 millimeters for your front rotors, ventilated in the front with solid rotors in the rear. Your center cap also has your Hyundai N badge, which I think is a very nice touch. When it comes to Hyundai and their N-Line products, they definitely do have, the signature N-Line styling, but it's never overdone where it looks corny or tacky, like someone just bought all the sticker packs and bombed it all around a car. It looks good. It looks like factory because it is factory.
It's well placed, yeah,
there you
for
go.
sure.
Exactly. It's tasteful. Now, this is always hard to show because, of course, we are filming a black vehicle. However, regardless of the color choice that you pick, you will get some gloss black elements for surrounding your windshield as well as your mirrors. So those are exclusive on all paint colors for the N-Line. Your wipers will also be rain sensing wipers. So as long as it starts raining or snowing, your vehicle will sense that and automatically adjust the speed based off the amount of precipitation. The very center of the windscreen also houses a camera. That's what will be utilized for your forward collision avoidance. So that allows this car to notice if there's a risk of a collision and warn you as a driver, but also take corrective action and apply brake pressure to avoid said collision. There's also the lane keeping and lane centering assist systems that will be worked with that camera too. For your mirrors, I'll just point out that we do have blind spot detection. So that'll of course illuminate that caution icon if there is ever someone in your blind spot. And now if you are currently indicating a turn or a lane change, it will beep at you too just to give you an extra warning. Performance-wise, this vehicle, like I said, we already have our turbocharged powertrain, we got our dual clutch transmission, but we also have an entirely different suspension. So it's a sport-tuned and calibrated rear suspension. It's also multi-link. So when it comes to handling, whether that's tight corners or just your average day-to-day speed bumps, Ontario roads, it handles nice and smooth, but it can also be tight when you need it. We also have some dedicated Sport and Sport Plus modes on this car with an available launch control too. Launch control is a bit of a sequence on this vehicle, and I have filmed a video on it in the past if you're curious on what that looks like. I will link it in the description once this video is posted. The 0 to 60 time on this vehicle is about 6.2 seconds. It has been clocked at 6.1, so of course on great conditions and a great driver you can see it do really good. Nonetheless, we got a fairly quick go. The rear end, and I apologize, the car is a little bit dirty today. Our detailer is way busy. We do have this black lip spoiler, which perfectly blends in with the paint on this car, again. But depending on what exterior color you choose, I personally love the white exterior with the black accents. The contrast is fantastic. You also do get a little bit of finning on it, and this isn't just for style, although it largely is for style. The aerodynamics are slightly improved thanks to this lip spoiler. Your tail lamps are full LEDs. You can see we got our indicators still on. And just like what we see on the front end, we have a full bar style lamp on the back, really widening the vehicle. And let's be honest, with the sporty car, the wider it is, it just looks good. You don't have to throw a wide body kit on this thing. It already looks wide. For the diffuser, it is very nicely sculpted surrounding the exhaust ports. So we got dual-sided twin-tip exhausts with a nice chrome finish. You do have active sound design in this vehicle. If you're unfamiliar with that, it's essentially artificial noise, and don't worry, you can shut it off if you're not a fan of it. But you do have a pretty nice exhaust note stock on this car too. It's going to be louder than your typical Sonata, but it's not bad. It doesn't sound corny, doesn't sound like a straight pipe. It's tasteful in its exhaust note. Your Sonata badging is in a beautiful brushed aluminum finish, just like the Hyundai emblem on the front. And your rear Hyundai emblem is actually tucked away behind the glass for your taillight bar. Super nice. You do get a release back here, which is very handy. I know a lot of sedans don't actually have a release in the rear. You have to either use your key fob or somewhere by the driver's area you'll have a tab. Very nice to have this. And you also get proximity release too, meaning you can simply walk up to the back of your car, and as long as the key's on you, it'll open it right up. Now for the rear. With sedans, of course, the only real drawback is the opening. So depending on what you need to put back here, you better hope it just fits in here. As long as it fits through the opening, it's going to fit in the space because we have a ton of rear space over here. We'll have the dimensions in the description below. Fortunately, I don't have them off the top of my head. I am not a robot. And this is live. Now, underneath the floorboard, we do have room for a spare. However, it doesn't come from factory with one. Instead, we get a tire mobility kit, which is essentially an inflator kit with a sealant to patch any plugs or things you may have picked up along the way, any friends you made along the way. Should you choose to knock down your rear seats, you do have 2 pull tabs, and they'll go in a 60-40 split. So if you only need one side down, you can choose the smaller side or the larger side, whichever is best for your situation. Okay, let's close this up. I think I've hit all the points I would like to talk about on the exterior, so now we'll just quickly mention fuel efficiency. I did say this vehicle is something that you can daily drive, feel comfortable in, but still put a smile on your face thanks to its performance. Now, it's not going to leave you crying when you go to fill up. Why? We have a 60-liter fuel tank, so not too large in the fuel tank size. Regular unleaded fuel is just fine, and it's rated at 8.8 liters per 100 kilometers combined. Now that is something that you can certainly see this vehicle do better in, depending on how you drive. However, if you're like me and you got a heavy foot, a quick car like this, you could make
Rest in peace.
Yeah, you can make those numbers a little worse quite easy too, but it's fairly forgiving. All right, now Charlotte will take over with the interior of this car where things get very comfortable, but also very sporty.
Definitely. And if you guys can't tell, a lot of attention to detail has gone into the exterior design. The same is definitely true on the interior. And we get to see a lot more of those sporty touches that I think just make it overall feel more sporty too, in addition to just the powertrain, because that definitely does the trick. So let's start off by talking about the driver's side door. Great mix. I'm actually going to turn these off.
Yeah, so it's
beeping. Take a look at the driver's side door. We have a great mix of materials. We have some regular gray plastic. We have some gray soft touch leather. We also have that contrast red stitching. And all of the chrome on this vehicle is also a gunmetal chrome. So it's darker, it's consistent with what we see on the exterior. Now let's talk about features. Right up here, I would be amiss if I did not mention the fact that we have a premium sound system. So it is Bose, and you have 8 speakers in this vehicle. Adjacent to that is going to be your memory seat configuration, which I absolutely love. And the nice thing is you can actually sync those with your user profiles for 2 per profile. So really 6 saved seating settings total. Say that 6 times fast. For your mirrors, they are electronically controlled. Your windows, your front 2 windows are one touch with obstacle detection and regular automatic windows for everyone else. You got another speaker down below, and then of course you're going to have a nice little bottle holder and storage compartment. Your seats. All right, so these seats, they are going to be exclusive with what we see for the N-Line. Now you are able to, of course, move them, so bring them up, down, forwards, backwards, adjust your backrest, and then also your lumbar support. So that is all there. And for your pedals, take a look at them. They are aluminum style sport pedals. So again, just a smaller detail that may go amiss to everybody else in the vehicle, but something as a driver, you're like, yeah, that looks good. Yeah, that feels good. I like it. On this side, brightness adjuster, your traction control, electronic parking brake, and also your trunk release. All right, do you want to come around and then we'll actually show what the seats look like?
Yes,
Perfect.
there's one thing that you didn't mention.
I was gonna say, is it the door sills, but no.
It's the bolster.
Oh my goodness, I almost missed it. Guys, could you imagine? Yeah, so again, this is a great example of a small thing making a big difference and making it feel even sportier. You can actually adjust the amount of bolster that the seat gives you. So utilizing this, not only is it your lumbar, but you can really have those seats truly hug you in place for when you are trying to go 0 to 100 and beat that time, and beat Gabby's time. All right, you can come around now.
For sure. All right, another quick look at the front end. Again, such a clean looking car. I love the design of the Sonata. I love it in the preferred model, but the N-Line, of course, is just going to amplify everything. The badging is tasteful. It definitely shows that this is not your average Sonata, but it's not too in your face or, of course, tacky. It's not overdone. This vehicle also has digital key entry, so if you are someone who's tech savvy, you can essentially unlock, start, and drive your vehicle simply by using your phone, which is a really nice touch.
So here are your seats. They definitely are more of a sport style, and the materials of them are going to be different. So you have a mix of Napa leather and then suede, and I really like that they're gray on this vehicle. I think it looks great, and then it allows for some of the details like the end embossing to really pop, and we still have some nice red stitching and piping. Now, Gabby's seat is going to be manual, so it's not going to be powered. She does not get as many fancy controls as I do, but nonetheless, it's still a fairly comfortable seat, has a nice amount of padding to still hold you in place, despite not being able to adjust it like you can the driver's seat.
You got a height adjustment though.
You got a height adjustment though, which is a pretty big deal. So you have 6-way manual adjustments for this one. Your steering wheel, nothing too crazy. It's a steering wheel. It's gray, red stitching, perforated leather on the sides too, very sporty. And we have N badging and more of that dark chrome in the center, giving us our H in Morse code. This side, of course, is going to be our driving control, so enable that highway drive assist, but then also adjust it using the dials and the roller knob. You can also adjust and turn on or off your lane centering systems and your following distance. And over here is going to be for your media controls. So media mode, virtual assistant, favorites button, and calling. Now, one button I didn't mention is going to be this notes icon. And when I press down on that, it's going to allow me to cycle through the center portion of my 12.3-inch multimedia screen. And here you can even see this exclusive N-Line gauge for your oil temperature, torque, and turbo PSI. Let's see if I can get up. From here, you also have a couple different viewpoints from the multi-way trip computer, just seeing how the vehicle responds to you as a driver. You can see your turn-by-turn navigation, and then also your safety settings. Behind the steering wheel, we got paddle shifters, which is a lot of fun in a sporty vehicle like this. So if you want to manually manipulate the gears, you definitely can, especially because we don't have a typical gear shift that we can knock over into manual mode. It is all shift by wire, column mounted shift by wire. Other than that, lighting stock, wiper stock, and one thing I love about this display is it's dual 12.3-inch screens with ambient lighting underneath, and it just plays off of all of the wide lines that we have seen on the front and rear of this vehicle, and then also beneath it with all of the air venting and the red detailing. I think it looks fantastic. Like, it's so consistent, the design, like very linear, like more, this is wide, is what they're saying. So just to recap, all multimedia screen, integrated navigation, 12.3 inches, wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and if you want to adjust those safety settings, you definitely can do so in through your driver's assistance. And then from here, you also have access to your drive modes, which is where you can also create that Sport Plus drive mode, so make it extra sporty for you. Also in here is where you can modify your active sound design, which Gabby mentioned, on the exterior of the vehicle. Yeah, that's pretty much our screen. Ambient lighting, I did mention that as well. Red stitching, which I love. It is push to start, so sporty, but you're still getting all of your favorite creature comforts. And they say race cars don't have AC, but this one does because it's dailyable. So you actually have dual zone climate control in this vehicle, which I love. So anyone in this vehicle is going to be comfortable. Up top is going to be all of your controls for multimedia, volume, tune knob, home, map. All of these do exactly as they say. Heated seats for the front and heated steering wheel with 2 levels of heat. And then of course you can go and adjust your fan speed and fan direction. Wireless phone charger also starts on this trim. And for connectivity or charging, you have dual USB-Cs and a 12 volt.
Did you mention that the car plays wireless?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Over here, you'll notice that we have our drive modes. So from here, I'm able to go and press down on them. So normal, sport, and you can create that customizable My Drive, which we took a look at already in the menus. And these are going to change up how the powertrain is going to respond. They also do change the theme of your cluster, which is very fun. So again, in sport mode, it's all red, it's sportier, just in the font that we have our lettering too. So overall, I think it looks really cool. And again, it's going to adjust how the powertrain responds and those shift map points. For features, you have auto hold. So when you press this down and bring the vehicle to a full and complete stop, it will hold you there and you can take your foot off the brake, then put your foot back on the gas and you're going to get going right again. Of course, we have a rear view camera with dynamic guidelines, so showcase there, and will come up as the vehicle is put into reverse. You have a top-down viewpoint and a wide-angle viewpoint too. In the center, cup holders, 2 sizes, which I like, little storage pocket, and then some nice detailing on our crash pad, and plastic.
Sticker.
Well, what's it made of, Gabby?
Sticker.
Plastic.
Glue.
Automatic dimming mirror with home link. Hopefully you can see that there. And again, exclusive to the N-Line is going to be this dark gray headliner. You do have a nice panoramic sunroof, which is fantastic to see again on a midsize sedan. And it really does take up the whole thing. On this vehicle, you also have Hyundai's BlueLink, which is their telematics system. And from here, you can actually even access roadside assistance or emergency assistance too. But again, all those creature comforts like preconditioning the cabin, using location services can be done from your phone. Airbags, before I forget that, 9 airbags in this vehicle. Fantastic again for a midsize SUV. Not SUV, sedan.
Sedan.
That's what I meant.
In a world of SUVs, though, maybe
Be a
consider a
sedan.
sedan, you guys.
Honestly, every time I get into a sedan, I'm just reminded of how much I enjoy it. And this one in particular, it's just such a beautiful drive.
Yeah.
You know, for a regular affordable vehicle, it is really quite nice. Okay, back here, lose a little bit of headroom, of course, because we do have a sunroof, but of course, still quite manageable. Decent amount of legroom as well. And of course, these are all going to be adjustable, so if you need to give less or more legroom, you certainly can do so. Dual sets of tethers, so it is going to be compatible with car seats, and up top, again, we're going to have tethers. I also like that these seats are the mix of the suede and the Napa leather. I think that looks really good. We've got a pocket. We have vents back here to get some airflow and still have dual USB-Cs, so everyone can certainly charge up their devices. Drop-down armrest with cup holders too. And I think that pretty much wraps up what we see back here. It's quite comfortable. This middle seat is quite cushy, I will say. Very comfortable. Nice.
All right. I might just get personal with everyone for a second and say, I know SUVs seem to be the favorite amongst a lot of North American families. I do often find a lot of people will find out that their family's growing and think, okay, time to get a giant SUV.
It's me.
Yeah,
I'm the problem.
But I do think a lot of people underestimate just how convenient sedans can really be. Especially, I know for my family, I grew up with my dad driving a pickup truck and my mom always having a sedan. My brother and my dad played hockey. They would take the sedan, load up the bags in that. You're the problem, it's you.
My dad calling me out. Thanks.
Charlotte, do you want to keep chatting while I put this?
Yeah. Let me grab my computer. That way I can just go and take a look. I did see a quick question pop up asking about the price. The MSRP of this vehicle is $39,699.
So let me talk about competitors for a second.
Or lack thereof.
Exactly, lack thereof. So of course there are other mid-size sedans out on the market. I mean, there's the Accord, there's the Camry. Who else has one?
Those are like literally what I can think of.
Yeah.
Again, in
Kia
North America.
Kia doesn't have one right now. I know in the States you guys get the K5 GT, and head-to-head, I mean, these cars literally go head-to-head. They have the same powertrain. The styling's different, but mechanically they're the same car. Over here though, I mean, if you do want the entry-level Accord, it's actually a tad bit more expensive than the fully loaded performance version Sonata, and it's a base model.
I was reading, I didn't quite hear
and it's
what
not
you're
even
saying.
a hybrid yet.
But
So-
yes, I agree with you.
Like, yeah, it's still a great car, but I do think you get a lot more bang for your buck with the Sonata, and it's the only performance-oriented sedan out there right now. Obviously, you can go to Audi or BMW and spend a lot more money.
But those aren't necessarily competitors.
Exactly,
Because, that's not the price range that you're looking at. Those are more high-line vehicles too,
Yes.
instead of your, your everyday I want to say economy cars,
Yeah.
but you know, you kind of gotta, I don't know. I love it when people are like, why would I get that when I could get a fully loaded, like, my favorite comparison is always the EV9 and the C8, and I'm like, that's crazy.
That's a real comment that we got. We were talking about the fully loaded Kia EV9, which is our most expensive vehicle in the Kia lineup, and someone said, why the heck would I get this when I could buy a C8 Corvette? Well, one is a 3-row, all-electric SUV.
The other one is a 2-seater sports car.
I don't think most people are going to be cross-shopping that.
No.
So, yeah. Ryan said, I would get this to replace my wife's SUV, except for the front end, that I'm not a fan. So yeah, if styling's not your thing, I do feel
that
like,
makes sense.
Yeah, you can't, I wouldn't buy a car if I didn't like the styling of it, even though if I love the ride of it, styling still was what seals the deal. And of course the price, but.
Blessed in Disguise, did you get to try the infrared camera distraction reader with sunglasses yet? So I realized in terms of HDA, is that all it turns off? I haven't used it with HDA. I have used it with sunglasses on, but I know that when you're using highway drive assist or any type of smart cruise control system is when people have typically been experiencing the problems. But again, like all of our units that have had it have been so new and sold that I can't go and joyride them on the highway, even if I want to, you know? Just out of respect for the customers, but.
Adam Casagrande said, hey, I just made a deal on that car. I'm picking it up on Saturday. Well, not literally that one, but one in Ohio.
No way!
He scared me for a second because when I saw the name Adam and I just made a deal on that car, our general manager at our Hyundai store's name is Adam, and I took the car from him today to film. And I was like, oh dang, do I have to bring it back right now?
Wrote a deal on
it. Which also congratulations, Adam. That is very exciting. I know you're gonna love this car.
Congratulations. Are the seats comfy? Will they be okay for a long trip? I think so, yeah. Especially with the mix of the leather and suede, I find them incredibly comfortable. Even the rear seats. And I'm 9 months pregnant.
I don't know if Charlotte mentioned this, but the seats in here, they're gray, and they're gray by standard. This isn't a color interior option pack. Gray isn't gonna get as hot in the winter.
Summer.
And with that, suede also doesn't feel as hot as a typical leather or leatherette in the summer. You know what I mean? So you don't hop into this car and burn yourself. It's a little bit more comfortable. Regardless, this vehicle also still has remote start integrated into the fob and the ability to do it from Hyundai's app.
I just want to shout out Paul Williams real quick. He actually sent us not 1 but 2 super chats, and thank you so much, Paul. Paul has been a huge supporter of our channel for a long, long time now, and we always really appreciate him hopping on.
And then just to answer a performance question, where did it go? Henry said, how does the N-Line stiffer suspension affect comfort for daily driving for long trips? So I especially paid attention to that today. I want to think, okay, how does a Sporty or trim level feel compared to, you know, a regular Sonata? It's still very, very forgiving. So again, our roads aren't entirely fantastic here. We got speed bumps, we got potholes, we got a lot going on. So while the suspension is stiffer, it's not like a race car. It's not as hardcore as the Elantra N, and keep in mind this is an N-Line, not a full N car. So it's meant to be a performance-oriented sedan, not a full performance sedan, if that makes sense. So it's still very, very comfortable. The seating is fantastic, the steering is fantastic. If you want things to feel even more stiff, then put it into Sport mode or Sport Plus, thanks to the custom drive mode select, then you'll feel a stiffer feel.
Steven says, it's a good ride for spirited and long cruising rides. So far, I'm loving it. So I'm assuming that you own one then. And if you do, thank you for sharing your perspective as an owner. We appreciate that.
Yeah. Also got asked, waiting to see how it does in harsh Montreal winters. So like any car, if you're somewhere that gets a lot of snow / ice, you gotta get winter tires. You gotta. Obviously this vehicle, one of its downsides would be the fact that it is lower, just because it's a sedan. They're not gonna be as high as SUVs, unless you lift it. So if it's very, very deep snow that you're going through unplowed roads, just measure whether it's worth that drive or not, because that is one disadvantage.
Johnny said, I've been watching a show for a couple days now, and I literally just picked up a 2025 Sonata N-Line. Thanks so much for all the great information.
Incredible.
Thank you so much, and congratulations. If you ever have any questions about it, you know where to find us.
I will also say, just the whole snow talk with a front-wheel drive car, this vehicle has enough horsepower to really push you, which again, drive carefully, don't floor it in the winter.
Do with that information what you will.
You are gonna slide. What I mean is, it's not an underpowered, tiny little 4-cylinder, light front-wheel drive car that isn't gonna be able to get you moving if you're stuck. Obviously, number one is traction, and traction comes largely from your tires. So if you got good tires, you also have a good powertrain that can get you through whatever it is you need to get through.
I just saw a question asking about the key fob.
Oh.
If it's the egg-shaped key fob. Yeah, it is.
It's okay.
Womp womp.
With the proximity key like this, you can keep it in your pocket all the time or in your bag. You never actually
you don't have to look
take it
at
out.
it. You don't
Exactly.
have to look at it. It's our little secret.
All right, Shar, we're at 30 minutes, and this is
My
actually,
goodness.
wait, this is kind of sad. Explain why.
So this is actually my last video. Today's my last day here at Brantford Kia. Ever. Because I'm going on maternity leave. I'm starting that as of, basically 3 o'clock today. I'll still be in and out a little bit, and we have a ton of pre-recorded videos coming next week to cover for me being away, Gabby being off on vacation. But yeah, it's thank you everyone so much who has cared about me and baby. I really appreciate it and feel so loved and supported. So yeah.
She will be back, right?
Yes.
Right?
It's hard to stay away.
I'm holding you to it.
Yeah.
You know, Charlotte will certainly be back, but she's got to take some time for herself.
I gotta get this baby out, guys.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's nice to see all the sweet messages. Thank you guys so much. I'm gonna miss her more. But
Love you guys so much.
And on our last note, I will be live again tomorrow, Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That'll be our last live stream for a little while, as I am gone next week. But I hope to see you there. If you are still watching, make sure you leave a like before you close off today's video. And take care, you guys.
Brush your hair.
Brush your hair.
There you go. Smooches.
Bye.